you make of what is happening? This whole, I'm sorry, I hate to use this word ecosystem because they sound like, the Opus Dei or some sort of a sinister organization that is working behind closed doors to bring down, societal relations. But unfortunately, there is a method to this, isn't it? There is a certain method to this so-called activism. I don't know who they're trying to convince or who they're betraying at the end of the day.
Good evening, Rahul. You're absolutely right. There is a method. The method is manifesting itself in virtue signaling and fear. And the fact of the matter is that the intricacies of the method are 1300 years old. There are no two ways about it. And you just heard one of the panelists actually kind of victim blaming, saying that the woman who was murdered horribly, horrific crime, knew that she is marrying a Muslim man and would have to adhere to the Islamic faith. Now, if I can ask that gentleman, why is that restricted to the Hindu woman? Why can't the Muslim man adhere to the principles of the Hindu faith where he's marrying a Hindu woman? But he can't, you see, because these are principles, and this is where I say this. Time and again, we snare the fundamentalists, but we spare the fundamentals. There are two issues here, one of hijab and the other of coercion, where, if you allow me, Rahul, I beg your indulgence, I would disagree with you a little bit. But on one, and I've said this before, that while hijab or a burqa may be considered an oppressive symbol of misogyny and patriarchy, Islam and the Holy Quran is very clear on how a woman should dress. I've said this before, 24:31 and 33:59. So every true Muslim woman has to adhere to this dress code, true Muslim woman. Also, punishment for apostasy in Islam is death.
No.
So once you convert, like the Hindu lady did to Zara, I'm afraid you cannot return to your original faith. Islam through Quran completely condemns it, and hadiths have this capital punishment for apostasy. Now for the second more pressing matter, Rahul, and if I may disagree with you a little bit, because love jihad is a reality. Impersonating someone else's religion for the purposes of entrapping a woman or coercing her to change her religion for the purposes of marriage or for living out peaceful married life are criminal offenses. For the leftists and the logically challenged, some of whom are in the studio right now, most often one and the same thing, the means do not justify the end, where the end is an interfaith marriage, which by itself is a wonderful thing. Now you can bunch these three offenses under any phrase, love jihad or grooming jihad, it doesn't matter. What matters is, do these offenses happen? The answer is yes, by the hundreds, with alarming regularity. Swati Goel Sharma of Swarajya magazine and Befitting Facts have been meticulously collating all these instances. Now the church in Kerala is worried. The High Court was worried. So now you cannot just say that the Hindus are, this is a khayali pulao of the Hindus when the church comes in Christian. And for all those chauthi fails who cry this number is not enough out of all the interfaith marriages to merit a debate, well, they raise hell for months. Every time cow smuggling vigilantism occurs, rightly so. But discount its statistical normalization through more than 250,000 cattle transport trips pan-India every year. So when it suits them, even one incident merits an outrage. And here it suits them to ignore the hell a Hindu or a Christian woman goes through. In any case, Rahul, the fact is, while you have the guts, do you have the guts to go against Mahatma Gandhi, who said, if I have the power to legislate, I would stop all proselytizing? Or do you have the guts to go against the holy book that says, do not marry polytheists unless they believe in Islam 2:21? Actually, don't, Rahul, because for the first, you will lose your secularism badge, but worse, for the second, you may lose your head.
Well, Dr. Ranganathan, look, the fact is that there are laws, very secular laws, to tackle anyone who marries somebody by making a false promise. And those laws have been passed, whether we agree or disagree. They haven't been called love jihad laws. That might be a loose term that is used, etc., etc. I don't subscribe to that point of view. I don't believe that young Muslim men are thinking, brooding about how they must entrap, etc., etc. Now, I am not going down that rabbit hole for the purposes of this debate. I want to keep this not as a Hindu-Muslim issue. This is an essential women's rights issue, viewers. I must, because I'm not an Islamic state. I must have the right to wear whatever I want.